Hello everybody, Chef Bob here today, and I'm going to show you how to make the most tender, tastiest beef filet tenderloin tips you've ever had, and we're going to cook it sous vide style. So let's get started. Now some of you may have heard of sous vide, some of you have not. It's becoming one of the hottest trends in cooking right now, even though it's been around for many, many years. And I'm going to show you the two most popular methods of cooking sous vide style. One is an all-in-one unit like this. This is a Dash brand unit, and I believe this is maybe a 9 or an 11 quart unit, and it's all self-contained. You just set the temperature and the time and you're off and running. Now one of the probably the more popular style you may have seen is the sous vide stick, and this you set the time and the temperature, but you need to put it in some type of vessel, like a large, I'm looking over here at my stock pots, so you either use a large stock pot, or if you have one of these styles of containers, and you can get these in all different sizes. You can get them more rectangular and shorter or taller. So for this style, for example, if you had a very large, say pork tenderloin roast, a beef roast, something like that, you might need something of this size. And what you would do is you would get one of these stick styles, you would clamp it to the side, and again, you just set the time and temperature, and you're off and running. But today, I'm going to use this style of sous vide cooker. So let's put this one aside, and we'll get started. Now for today, I'd like to make some beef tenderloin tips, and I'll show you what that looks like. These are just small pieces of beef tenderloin. I believe this is from a Black Angus tenderloin, and these are what you would call the tenderloin tips. And these are great if you want to make even just a small portion control. Maybe you want to have this with some asparagus and some rice, or maybe you want to put this into a salad, cut this up in smaller pieces and make a salad. Anyway, this is what I'm going to demonstrate cooking sous vide style. Now, in order to cook sous vide style, you need to put your meat or your protein in some type of bag. And two of the most popular ways to do that are to use nothing more than a simple Ziploc bag. Now it needs to be waterproof because you fill these with water, and that's how you cook, by using water. A lower temperature but high cooking time in the water bath. So what I have here is, this is a Ziploc bag. So for example, you would put your steak in the bag, squeeze out the air, make sure it's nice and tight, put it in your water bath, and set your time and temperature. Another way to do it is if you have a vacuum sealer unit, which is what we're going to use today. And there's all different size bags. There's a smaller one, here's a large one. We could probably use this small one, but I'll probably use this larger one today. So I will push this aside, and we'll use the vacuum sealer, and I'll show you how we get started. Let me put this over here. Now, you can just put this in the bag the way it is with nothing on it. But ideally, and this is even if you're not going to cook sous vide style, but here's a tip. When you get your meat from the butcher or the store and you buy it, and you're going to package it and seal it in separate packages, what you want to do is, don't just put it in plain. Flavorize it. What do I mean by that? I mean, before you put it in the bag and freeze it, put some, at a minimum, maybe some salt and pepper. Maybe you want to add some diced onion in the bag. Maybe you have a steak seasoning or a marinade. Maybe you want to put some soy sauce or hoisin sauce on it, and then cover it and put it in the bag. And then when you freeze it, it'll marinate. So when you pull it out, it'll already have the flavoring in it. So you'll put your bag in here with your flavoring agents, and then it'll just be wonderful. You'll be amazed at the difference. So what we're going to do is I'm going to I have a small bowl here. Here's a bowl. I'm going to take my filet mignon beef tenderloin tips, put them in the bowl. I washed my hands first, don't worry. And I'm going to put a little bit of salt and pepper. And a little bit of a hoisin sauce is what we're going to use today. Just a little bit. And now, what we'll do is we'll just put it in the bag, and we're going to use a vacuum seal unit. Now, if you had a lot of marinade, this is relatively dry, but even with this, it's considered wet. And if any of you have used the vacuum sealer before, you know you have a problem using fluids and liquids. So If you're very quick with the button, you can quickly hit stop as soon as the vacuum starts, or you can just go right to seal mode. So we'll probably go right to seal mode directly. And if I grab a pair of tongs to make this job easier, I'll just put the meat in the bag, like so. Now, in order to get a good seal, always make sure that you have, I'm rubbing the towel in the upper portion of the bag here to clean off that sealing area. Now this is relatively dry, so I'm not going to have to worry about sucking in too much fluid, but I'll show you how it's done. So we'll turn our unit on. This one has an option for moist. We'll say moist, but that's not going to matter. We're going to be very quick on the button to avoid getting moisture in our machine and damaging our vacuum sealer machine. So we'll just insert our bag, and when it starts, I'm going to watch it. And as soon as I see any fluid, I'm going to quickly hit the seal button. I can see the fluid. I could see it right here. It was starting to enter the unit. So I hit the seal button. Now we don't need a lot of vacuum on here. In fact, you don't need any. If you use the Ziploc bag, you'll have no vacuum sealing, and that's fine. We just want to have a sealed bag so the water can't get into it. That's all we're really after. As you see, we have our sealed bag, and now we're ready to get started cooking. Let me take this unit, put it out of the way, and now we'll pull over the sous vide unit. Now, when you're working with a tender steak to begin with, I like to use a lower temperature. I'm going to use, if this were, instead of tenderloin pieces, if this were a single steak, it would be the same for something like this. So for a very soft beef like a ribeye or maybe a good black Angus sirloin, tenderloin, New York strip, I would set it for about 120 degrees for about 2 hours. Now in this case, yeah, I'll do that for this also, 120 for 2 hours. But if you're using, say, a larger roast and you want to make it tender, then I would go up to more like 130 to 135, probably 135 for about 4 to 6 hours or even longer. So those would be minimum times. But since I'm using a softer or a more tender piece of meat to begin with, I'm going to use a lower temperature. So all you do, for example, in this unit, there's a rack to hold your items. So I'm just going to put our beef tenderloin in here. And if it doesn't, a lot of times people have a problem with the bags floating. There's multiple ways to weight it down. You can be creative. You can put a clip on here or some type of weight, but this rack holds it fairly well for me. So I just put the bag in there. And now we'll turn the unit on. And we want to set it to 120 degrees. And set it for 2 hours. Oops, you could go a little longer. There we go, and hit start. So once this reaches temperature, it'll count down for 2 hours at 120. That's going to be about a good rare to medium rare steak, which is perfect for something like a beef tenderloin, again, or our soft steak. So I'll see you back here in about 2 hours, and I'll show you the next step. Okay, everybody, we're back. It's been a little over 2 hours. I've turned the unit off. And our beef filet tenderloin tips should be finished cooking. Again, we did it for about 120 degrees at 2 hours. You can go longer. And let's see what we have here. So I push this aside. I already have our pan heating up, because the next step whenever you cook something sous vide is it's not going to have that nice caramelized texture you're used to as if you put it in the oven or pan fried or broiled. So what we're going to do is we're going to open this up, and then we're going to sear it and get a nice little caramelization on it. So what I do is I have this pan heating up. It's going to be quite hot. So I imagine we're going to get a lot of smoke, but we'll do our best to prevent any fires. So I'm going to throw a little oil in here. And we have the Ming Tsai induction unit set to sear mode. And now we're just going to sear this up. Let me grab my tongs. And we don't want to cook this. Remember, at this point, we're not cooking the steak. We're just trying to get a sear on it. And I'm just turning these over to try to get each side brown. Now, ideally, to get the ultimate sear, you would have taken it out of the bag and dried it off. Because if you dry your meat, you'll get that nice sear. I put it right in there without drying it, so it may not caramelize as well as if you had dried it off first. And when it sticks, leave it go for an extra couple of seconds. Again, I don't want to have it in here for more than about 2 minutes total time. I do not want to cook the meat. I only want to get a nice little caramelization on it. You can see it's starting to get a nice little caramelization on there. This one's still, there we go. Get that side. It smells delicious. And I believe this one had just some salt, pepper, and some hoisin sauce. You saw me. It's similar to the one, well, it was the exact same one that you saw me make in the beginning. So. I don't want to do this too much longer because these are very small pieces, and like I said, I don't want to cook them. Let's get a little bit more on that one side, maybe a little bit more there, and maybe just a little bit more on that side. And we're going to turn this off and try it out. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this out, put it on our cutting board, and I'm going to let this rest for a few minutes, maybe 3, 4, 5 minutes, and then I'll bring you back here and we'll taste it and see what it's like. See you in about 5 minutes. Alright, it's been a couple of minutes. I can't wait too long because this is just looking and smelling too delicious. So I just want you to take another good look at this and see how we made these beef tenderloin tips sous vide style. Now, let's slice in one of these and see what it looks like. Let's take this one here. Now what I want you to see, and I'm going to lift this up to the camera, and this is sort of the main reason why you want to do sous vide. Now you see this was a very small piece of meat, which would be very difficult to cook without overcooking it. I want you to see in the camera here. Can you see that it is pink from edge to edge? Totally pink from edge to edge. And that was cooked for 2 hours. You can't make a steak like this any other way. Now, let's try this out. Oh. Unbelievable. Mouth-watering, flavorful from the marinade. You seriously have to try cooking sous vide style, especially, you know, a nice piece of meat like this, a steak, prime rib, anything you can imagine. Pork, even chicken breast, it'll come out tender, juicy, not overcooked. And again, I want you to see, in fact, I'll even cut open another one just to show you. We'll cut it lengthwise here. Again, pink to pink, edge to edge, perfectly cooked. The only amount of grayness you see is from me searing it on the very, very edge. Otherwise, it's totally pink, not overcooked. It's wonderful. So, I hope you enjoyed watching this video. I hope I've given you some great ideas on how to make steaks in the future, filet mignon, or any type of steak, ribeye, New York strip. This is a wonderful technique. I like to use 120 degrees for 2-3 hours at most. And then, you know, pan seared, or you can use a broiler if you want to. A broiler would be fine. You just stick this under the broiler for a couple of minutes to get that nice little sear on it. And remember, even in the beginning, when you first package the meat, put a little marinade in there, a little seasoning. some salt, pepper, some steak seasoning, if you want to put some garlic, onions, soy sauce, wine, whatever you want to put in that bag to marinate it, put it in there, and then when you put it in here, that flavor will get infused as it cooks over that 2-3 hours you cook it. So, hope you enjoyed watching this video. If you liked it, please press the thumbs up, like, subscribe, tell your friends about it, and thank you for watching. I gotta have some more of this. Unbelievably tender. It's just unbelievable.